flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You all have a copy of the minutes of preceding meetings. Is there any additions or corrections?
Mr. President, if there are no additions or corrections, I move to accept as presented.
Second. Been moved and seconded, the minutes be accepted as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Minutes. Department head reports. We'll start with Adrian Ellis. He asked to be put on first. Okay.
I'll call it.
I just texted
Mine.
him.
Highway Department, Jay.
Good morning.
Hi.
We've had a wreck with a truck. I know I told Barton about it. I think Zane knew about it. That they come down and did the appraisal on it, checking it out, and I haven't heard anything out of it.
That was a wreck, not of our fault.
Yeah, it was somebody slid across the center line and hit them head on. I mean, not much you can do about it. Plow absorbed most of it, but still tore the truck up, and it destroyed the plow. So it was one of the small trucks, and I'm in the process of finding a plow for the other four-wheel drive we got down there to take up the slack in that area, because we really need two of them. We do up around the courthouse and everything up here.
Was that truck going to be fixable, Jay?
They don't know if it can be fixed or not. They're thinking it's totaled, so we'll just wait and see.
Do we know
We haven't been
that,
able to get it in, we haven't had time to get it in the garage and look at it. We've been so busy. We've tried to get everything ready.
do we know that the other driver had insurance?
I assumed he did. They didn't haul him off to jail for it.
Well, they usually find out about that after the fact. So
Yeah. But they've had a, what do you call it? Not the guy that comes down and checks it.
The gesture?
The adjuster come down.
Okay.
So we're just waiting on word from him what it's gonna be worth.
Okay.
It's an older truck. It was a 99, but it had the Power Stroke diesel in it and everything else. It was a good truck. You hate to lose it, but it just happens. That's all you can do.
Right.
We've made more salt or salt sand for this next storm coming. We've made almost 600 ton yesterday.
Do we have enough salt?
Well, we got about half a barn full yet, but we've already used half our budget on salt. That's not counting what we spent last year at the end of the year to get ready for this. So we've used almost 750 ton of salt already.
But we still have more
Yeah, we got-
salt bought.
Yeah, we can buy more if we have to.
Okay.
Just aside from that, we're just out checking the gravel roads today because a lot of them are just solid sheets of ice and they're having trouble getting up and down, and we've been doing that for the last 2 days trying to get them opened up. Not really a lot you can do with them. You salt sand them. I hate to put salt on them, but you can't haul straight gravel out to them, freezes in your bed. So we've been salt sanding them. We just have to deal with whatever it causes when spring gets here. But that's all I have right now.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jay. Maintenance, Bill Gray.
Morning, John.
Morning.
Morning.
I don't have a whole lot. I was talking to Debbie about my money for my part-time employees here at the courthouse. The council had moved it. That's what I didn't know. That's what Debbie told me. And I'm not going to be able. I won't have it in the budget, so I need to do something about getting my part-time money back for my housekeeping.
We do have money in the budget for part-time help, not in your department, but which we can use for one time to get them paid, and then something's gonna have to be done.
Yeah.
Because the council left no money in there for paying the part-time help, but we can get it covered for the rest of this month. Budget.
Through the commissioner's budget, but. it'll
Through the
complete
commission,
that
we'll have to take it
part-time.
out of the commissioner's budget. But
Okay.
that's just a one-time deal, and then we're gonna have to do something else.
Okay, so I need to go to council.
Well, I actually put in for an additional that would be heard tonight. However, they cannot do that in additional unless the commissioners were to amend their capital plan or come up with a new capital plan that included those expenses in it. So Barton and I talked about that this morning, and he really didn't want to amend last year's plan in order to include those. But council has never officially come and asked commissioners to put the money into the capital plan to fund that, so. Well, they're going to be taken care of through February, and I'll talk with Kathy where I think there's $500 left in their line item. I kind of made them put $3,000 in to pay them, get them started in January because I knew we wouldn't hear additionals until February. So if we pay them out of that part-time line in County General Commissioner's budget, we've got them covered till February, but somewhere along the line, council would have to make an official request, which will require work on the commissioner's part to put it into the capital plan, so.
All righty. The only other thing I have was the elevator deal at the annex. I've got called into another elevator company, of course, with the weather last week, they couldn't get here. Hopefully,
When do you think you'll get another estimate?
I'm gonna call him again today and see if he can get
Now,
down here.
is the first figure we got, Bill, is that an estimate or a
The first
quote?
figure was $31,175. Now, that was if they do not run into any foreign matters in the shaft, any water, any cave-ins, where they'd have to bring a drilling rig in. That was the quote prior to if they didn't have any problem.
And
once they
what-
get down to
What
click.
could that involve
If they have to bring a drill rig in, then he never gave me a quote on that, so I'm sure that's not gonna be cheap.
substantial.
But there's no foreseen cost until you get the shaft out.
right, but he can give us an idea of what that cost would be if he did have to do that, can he not?
Okay.
Uh,
I'll get back with him too. But I also will get with the other elevator company that takes care of the elevator here and have them give us
Yeah. Well, I think,
Have
you
them-
know, bids, we do have people in that building, we have to stay ADA compliant, so I don't think we have any choice but to fix that elevator.
Okay.
I got a call the other day that the food pantry was carrying some woman up the stairs and down that wasn't able to climb the stairs. So as long as we got people, I think we got to fix that. So could you have by our next meeting in this month, the two quotes, and
Yeah.
so we can go ahead and contract you and somebody to fix
Yeah,
that?
I'll get with them today and see if I can get them down here. And surely we can get something done by then. So I'll get those for you. Other than that, that's all I have. We're just waiting on the storm.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
Welcome. You have anything else? Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Adrian?
Yes, sir. Morning.
Good morning.
I put grant applications in your mailbox. That is a result of my evaluation from Homeland Security. I scored above average, and with that comes a bonus. They did an evaluation last year of the needs for the office, and our ham equipment is failing. It's 1993 vintage. Computers are failing. Ben can tell you they're XP, time to go. I scavenged as much as I can to get that together. But that and one other thing are the only two things I have. I need your approval on the grant application.
Well, I think we're always,
Is it a 100% grant?
Yes, sir. It's a standard app that we always have, nothing changes in there.
well, I think we're always glad to get grants and free money. As short as we are, I would entertain a motion that we approve the application for the grant.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we give Adrian approval for the grant. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'd like to get your signatures. I have 2 pages. Debbie and the 3 of you, are standard stuff. Did you get your copy? I put it in your mailbox.
Oh. Nobody puts anything in that mailbox. So you just need this,
I need, these are just signature pages. I'll print the rest out. but I need the three of you and Debbie to sign those.
Here?
Where the X's are.
Adrian, thank you for the
On
press
Susan.
Yeah, thank you.
She's a good lady.
You know?
And if you want to look at that any further, let me know and I'll give her a call.
You need them before you leave now, or can we do it
Yes,
at the end of
please.
the meeting?
I have to get that back. The other thing is something that's been a 3-year journey. I'm still kind of in shock this actually happened. One of the main things for EMA is communication. We have the Everbridge system. Warning sirens are pretty much dinosaurs. They're not being used much anymore. There are a million ways to do this. One of the things I've always been a fan of is communications. 3 years ago, I started the process for a low-power FM station, and to my amazement, I filed the application and we got it. We're the first county in Indiana with EMA to have a low-power FM license. I've been granted application to build a station by the FCC. This is their letter of approval. Now I have to beat the bushes to find funding. This is going to be $12,000 to $15,000 to do that. I've got grant possibilities to do that, but I'll have to knock on a lot of doors. This is a hallmark. According to Don West, Communications Director for Homeland Security, this is the first time this has ever happened. We're the only ones in the state to have that. This will allow communications on a level we've never had. We could get down to an area the size of a yard. Basically, it's a low power FM station is like a college radio station. We'll be able to broadcast information that's critical. We can promote the community, different events. There will be no competition to any other station. We will only have enough power to cover the county. We can educate, we can inform, and we can warn. This is a program that's open, input from everyone, but this is a hallmark. This is a critical addition to the safety of this community and to the communications package we have. I'm currently the administrator for the 800 megahertz system. This is an addition. I gave you a presentation on iPause, which is a combination of all this. Where we're going is someplace no one's ever been before. And I'm very proud to announce that to you because it's been 3 years of hard work. And it's something you as commissioners can wave in other commissioners' faces because nobody else has ever done it. So that's the announcement I want to make to you.
So for the warning system, you're saying that in addition to the Everbridge we have now?
Everbridge can send a notice out to your phone. It can text you. But when the FM station, it's just like when we had an FM station, they would go on and they'd say, hey, something's happened here and here. We can put all of our energy into that point in time during that whole event and talk people through it. If it's a snow emergency, anything, it is nonstop information. We have total control of that. When we're not into an emergency situation, we can broadcast music. We can broadcast education. We can work with the schools, hospitals, programs to help people's health.
So it's kind of like Channel 3 just on a radio.
Yes, good example, great example.
So what kind of cost of operation are you gonna have, Adrian?
The operations will be no more than the cost of electricity. Getting the system together is $12,000 to $15,000. I have a possibility of a grant for $4,000 to the Hoosier Foundation. That's reoccurring yearly. With 18 months to get the station together, there's a possibility of $8,000. But the bottom line for me is I'm going to have to beat on doors. I would like to approach the city of Connersville for a donation, local companies, the hospital, and other people. It's not going to be an easy route. The first part is getting the license, and that was an uphill climb. To be quite honest, I was working with a consultant that dropped out 2 days before the deadline. I had to shut the doors, go through that entire application and the engineering and file it myself. But we got it. And this is amazing for the community. It's never been done before.
Would you, I'm assuming you would educate the community that in event of a tornado watch that could upgrade to a warning, et cetera, that you should tune in to such and such radio station for instructions? Is that basically what you will do?
That along with, if you had like the chemical spill on 3rd Street, Everbridge gives a warning of an area, we can start talking to people driving that way. We can alert them to stay away from it. Consequently, if we have a community event, we can broadcast, we can promote the community.
Back to the spill.
Yes.
Everbridge could conclude their message by simply saying tune in to
100.7.
WAAA, whatever, okay, and for further updates and information, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's wide open. The key for me is it's not about religious broadcasting, it's not about political broadcasting, it's promoting and supporting the community. The idea will be to work with all the other media around, not to compete, not to duplicate, but to inform, educate, entertain.
Where will your tower be?
It would be at the site, at the animal shelter. We're only allowed a 100-foot tower, and I'm looking at a surplus military tower now. Government Liquidators has, it's at the Crane Naval Depot. Towers are about $2,000. Transmitters are about $4,000.
You talking about a big tower?
Excuse me?
You talking about a big tower?
100 foot. Well, it'd be 80 feet. The antenna's 20 feet.
Isn't there a tower laying up there?
Yes, but I have to do engineering on that tower and find out. We have the tower, I just don't know what it would cost to put it up. It may be that the foundation and all to put up 80 feet of that tower, which would be 4 sections, could be more than what it would cost to buy one. And I've got to weigh those factors.
You're still gonna have to put a foundation in on whatever you get, right?
Well, the one that I'm looking at is a military type. It's on a trailer. It's a tripod. The sides fold out and you can anchor it down. You don't have to do a foundation. It's wide open, but this is where you can be creative and thrifty and get other people involved. The tower on the ground is an option. I'm looking at that. I know that it's a guide tower, but I've got to talk to the manufacturer and say, do we need to have guide wires when we're only using 80 feet? I think we can probably get away with not doing that, but I have to go through their engineering to find out.
How rusted is that tower?
It's not bad. It's got a lot of paint on it. Probably needs to be rolled over because the parts sitting on the ground are probably wearing off.
You need a backhoe or something like that to do that?
Yes. It's a good tower. I mean, it's solid steel. It's got a lot of life into it. Towers of that nature, with upkeep, are good for about 100 years. I mean, look at the Eiffel Tower. Look how long it's been there. And it's a much lower grade material than that tower is made out of.
Once you work with Jay, sometime it's mutually convenient for both of you to take something up there, or Jay, if you can talk the city into doing it for us, that's fine, and turn that thing over, would you please?
Sure.
Okay.
You know, it would seem, being the tower's there, we've already got it, it should be cheaper than buying a tower.
Well, it could be. My only concern is what they would recommend for the base.
Right.
Because it's 4 foot face, it's a triangle, but it's 4 feet wide. That's a lot of metal sticking up in here. And that's where the engineering comes in. I've got to go run some numbers and see where that's going to go. But absolutely, that's part of the contract.
So what specifically are you asking us for this morning, Adrian?
I'm not asking for anything. I'm just informing you
telling us.
of what just happened.
Okay.
You're going to try and raise the funding privately, is that what you're saying?
Privately, looking for donations, grants. I want to approach the city of Connersville because they're the biggest beneficiary of this. And agencies, fund drives, whatever it takes to keep it from coming out of tax taxpayers' pockets. I mean, this is something that is such a good thing that there were 2,345 applicants and only 255 made it. So I'm very proud to be a part of that group.
Super. Good job.
So are you thinking about doing this in conjunction with putting your department up there?
Well, this was in addition to. There's so much going on. We've talked in the past about site management up there, that tower property, and all the things that need to be looked at. Anytime you're closer to the transmitting facility, your costs are cut down dramatically, and you have higher reliability. If we were at this area right here, we would transmit to that tower, so that adds another cost and a length of that, as opposed to being up there just plugging to the back of the radio and we're good to go. So it's a definite benefit and cost saving.
And I got your report in here where you studied about remodeling that building, where we could do that up there and make some use of that building that we have. Okay.
That's it.
Anything else, Ed?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
IT Director, Ben?
Good morning.
Morning.
The large packet that I handed to you before the meeting today was brought to my attention by Judge Ertl. In September of last year, the state Supreme Court enacted Administrative Rule 19, which states that all county courthouses must have a security committee and a security blueprint spelled out. And along with that, have this security considerations for Indiana courts. As this is your building, I thought it best to bring it to your attention so that you could take action how you see fit. But the rule was enacted in September to be implemented in January of this year.
Does this specify who they think should be on that committee?
I believe page 1 does speak to that somewhat. Most of this is just the blueprint of things that they suggest that you take a look at. But it would seem prudent to have commissioner representation, council representation, and probably some elected officials on there as well, notwithstanding the sheriff's department. And
We had this at one time back when I was on the council.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We do have
Yeah.
a court security committee,
Yes.
and I am on that committee, the sheriff is on that committee, Adrian Ellis is on that committee, Commissioner Jackson is on that committee. We have a committee, we meet. I'm aware of that rule, I have that, so we have already been doing that. I actually am on the Indiana Supreme Court Court Security Committee with the Supreme Court, so we already are operating under that and acting with that, so.
perfect.
Got that problem solved.
I like the easy problems.
Right.
Again, Judge Ertl gave that to me, so I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that.
Okay.
The second packet that I gave you, as we discussed during my evaluation late last year, my desire to do some further training in the area of security. The quote that I have before you is from the InfoSec Institute. That totals $3,825 for their 5-day training in Chicago, May 19th through May 23rd. And I'm looking for your approval to attend that. This training would give me the ability to be a certified network penetration tester, that we can actually do a evaluation on all of our networks and see where we're vulnerable, where we need to beef up security, where we can move resources around to make sure that we are doing everything proactively that we can to prevent a breach of security.
I think that is important. Debbie, do we have the money budgeted for this?
We can find it.
The only thing is, you had said in the past that when you're out for the 5 days, you're not going to be able to be contacted.
Correct.
Everything goes wrong in this courthouse every day, somewhere IT something somewhere. How are we going to change that?
Well, I think we need to make provisions for when Ben's going to be gone. I don't know if we have somebody who could do that on an emergency basis or not.
We currently do have my intern. who works 6 to 8 hours a week. He's becoming more familiar with the network. He is a high school student though, so I mean, that's not really a viable option if something were to go wrong. But I mean, it's obviously a concern.
Could we borrow Mr. Posey from the city for 3 or 4 days on an emergency basis or something like that?
I'm sure we could talk to him about that.
Okay.
But yeah,
Would you approach him and ask him if he's
Absolutely.
amenable to the idea?
absolutely.
Okay.
But Zane's right, the training is from 8 in the morning till 10 at night. And, I mean, you're going at it for 14 hours straight. So it'd be very hard to be in communication during that time.
I'll talk to the city too about that, because it's just as much of their benefit as ours for you to take that training, could you?
Absolutely. With the amount of networks that we have, I mean, we have the highway department network, we have this network, obviously. And then when you put into the city all their smaller networks, it would be much more expensive to have someone come in and do this testing as opposed to me getting the training and doing it in-house. So there is a mutual benefit.
You need a motion, Mr. President?
Yes, we do.
I would move to appropriate the funds for Ben's training in Chicago to the tune of $3,825, and the president and commissioners can see what he can do about having the city contribute.
Second.
It's moved and second to allow Ben to go to the 5-day training. So there's no more discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There you go.
The only other thing that I had today, I would like to request an executive session to talk about camera policy. As that falls under security, I believe that is acceptable. But I would like a written policy as to who can request footage and what our standard policies are for the cameras. Only because there have been issues that have arisen even this week. So,
Could I suggest that you present us with a plan that you think is appropriate?
sure.
And now, is that what, were you eventually going to write the plan anyway?
I can. I'll be more than happy to, but I definitely want input from you, as it's these are your cameras and your courthouse.
Ben, excuse me, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt again. With regard to cameras in the courtrooms, also, and Judge Ertl is aware of this as well, that's even a different circumstance than the cameras in the rest of the courthouse proper. We have to draft a local rule for our 2 courts that has to be approved by the state court administration. In Indiana, our Supreme Court does not allow cameras or recording devices in courtrooms, and so we have to adopt and enact, Judge Ertl and I, a local rule for the courtrooms that specifically state that if cameras are there, that no footage may be released to the press or to anybody, because otherwise we would be violating that Supreme Court rule with regard to not allowing recording devices or cameras in the courtroom. And so we'll have to do something specific for that, and I know we have someone from the press here. I can provide you with our Supreme Court rules about not allowing the recording devices in the courtroom, or if you do allow them just for the purposes of security, that those recordings then cannot be released like to the press or something like that.
Well, I remember when we agreed to purchase the cameras, that we said that the cameras in the courtroom would be the prerogative of the judges. So.
And I
whatever
do
you
want them,
need
I
to
won't
do.
speak for Judge Ertl, but we will have to adopt a
Yeah,
rule,
that's
which I
fine.
would be happy to explain and show to everybody, because the Supreme Court's going to require that of us.
Well,
I think,
Sorry to interrupt you.
I
No,
think
no
it-
problem.
I think it'd be a simple matter of nothing's released unless the court approves it.
Okay,
And
we'll have to do
We'll
that.
protect you, don't worry about
Okay.
that.
But the other cameras in the courthouse have to have a separate policy, is what
Right.
you're asking for.
So, excuse me
Yes.
for interrupting.
That's fine.
And then that's my concern, that I don't want it to be at my discretion. I want there to be a written approved policy that dictates how we disseminate footage, camera placement, and so forth.
Well, I think an executive session would be would be proper for this. Then we can do that, can we not, Chris?
For security
Yes.
purposes only,
Yes.
the way I read it, yes, but
Okay. So when would the commissioners want to do that?
I'm available whenever.
Available whenever.
We'll do it, yeah, one day this week.
Any
That
day but,
takes 48-hour notification.
Any day
to
but
the
what?
neighbor.
any day but
48
Thursday. Friday would be perfect for my schedule.
Friday would give us enough time.
Is that convenient for you?
I really don't know what our schedule is. Let's set it for next week if we can.
Okay.
Or how soon would you want to get this done, Ben?
At your convenience.
We could do it next week, or we could do it right after our next commissioner meeting. Which you want to do?
We got so much piling up on us. Why don't we go ahead and get this out of the way and have a day next week? Is that convenient?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I'll come in whatever day.
What day and what time you want to do it, Ben? Next week?
Do we, Monday morning?
Okay.
Monday
Same.
mornings are usually before things really pick up for me, so
Say at 9 o'clock next
that'd
Monday?
be fine.
Are you buying lunch?
Absolutely.
We will need a motion to have that executive session.
I move to that we advertise for and conduct a closed door session, executive session with commissioners for purpose of writing a security policy for the cameras next Monday,
Second.
9 a.m.
Been moved and second, we have an executive session next Monday morning at 9 o'clock for the purposes of discussing camera policy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Unless you guys have anything, that's all I had today.
Thanks, Ben. We'll see you
Thank you,
next
sir.
Monday.
Yes.
You skipped over. Whether he has anything or not.
Surveyor Warren, have you got anything for us this morning?
Yes. I have two claims to be signed for reimbursement bridge inspection. And then I got an update on the bridge inspection program.
What bridge is it?
This bridge, overall county bridge inspections.
Oh, all of them. Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's every 4 years program.
Right.
Um,
The big report.
And what is this saying?
Phase 1 is just completed.
Okay,
And the bottom, phase 2 started, and that's the amount of money that's required. This is reimbursed 80% from the federal government. And I've got, in this year's budget is $20,000 to pay bills so far. We may need to appropriate more to pay the consultant first and then get reimbursed, which is what this is asking for.
this is asking for the whole 80,000?
No, just these two claims. As they do the work, they submit.
What are they? 4,000?
This one here, there's two of them I have. One I just got yesterday and one is previous. You just sign at the bottom and date. You've done it before. And I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the claim itself that goes to NDOT.
Yeah.
What did those two claims total?
This one, reimbursable part's 2016. And I think that was $4,032. So that would be about $6,048.
2016, the other's two times that.
Yeah. That's all I have unless you have any questions.
No. County Attorney, Chris?
Yes, the attorney for Maximus, that contract that we approved pending, or you guys approved pending, the limitation of liability clause finally got back to me last night. I called her at 6, she didn't answer, so I should be able to iron that out today after this, and then it's already been approved pending.
Been approved subject to your
Yeah.
approval of the wording, yes.
Excuse me?
It's been approved subject to your approval of the wording
Yes,
of
and
the contract.
I've just gotten in
Yeah.
contact with her. I don't think it'll be a tough issue to iron out,
Okay.
so
Okay,
once that's worked out, I'll bring it back to you guys and send it in.
okay, okay,
And then I have nothing else right now.
okay. Council Representative? There he is.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I only have 3 things. Well, one is the item that was addressed by Mr. Gray. We'll be addressing that tonight at tonight's council meeting, and hopefully have a representative from the council to address you and respectfully request some modification of your capital improvement plan. We hope to have that done by your next commissioners meeting so that we can get that taken care of. The other thing was we have identified a couple of areas where we can save some cost to the county and improve some of the services that we offer. One of them is Councilwoman Shirley Weiss is looking into a way to save some funds through the treasurer's and the assessor's office. She's getting that information together. We'll hopefully have that for you by the next commissioners meeting to present to you for your considerations. Also, I've been working on, obviously, this Odyssey program as a way to save some costs to the county, not only for the court system, but for the probation office as well, to enhance some of their capabilities. Done a lot of investigation on it. I've talked with each of you about my findings. Recently, Judge Butch and Melinda have been able to go to Fayette County. I'm not going to speak for them. I've not had a chance to actually speak to either one of them, other than through email with the judge. So I'll let them speak to that if they don't mind, if you're interested in hearing anything on that.
And actually, we went to Franklin County.
What did I say?
Fayette.
I got Fayette on the brain.
I don't know if you want to.
Go ahead.
No, it's not on the date.
3 of us went to Franklin County. It was Judge Butch and Barb Troop, my first deputy, and myself. And the system has improved immensely since our demo back in 2011, but it still has a lot of glitches in it. The system locked up while we were there viewing it. There's so many more screens that we have to go to and wait for each screen to pop up. As you know, we deal with people that have received tickets or fines, and usually they're not in a good mood in our office anyway. So when they have to stand there for a half hour, 45 minutes to get their ticket paid or their fine paid, I wouldn't look forward to that at all. Overall, I just don't feel that Odyssey is ready to take on as much of the state as they want. Hopefully, in the future it will change, but right now I do not want to change from CSI. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. It's just not ready. I don't feel that it's ready.
So you said the system over there locked up on you?
Yes, it
when you
did.
were over there?
Yes.
And did it take them long to get it back? Or?
It never did come back. We left.
They say that was just a problem all the way around, or?
I'm not sure. I'm not an IT person, so I don't know all of the ins and outs of the system.
Did Ben go with you?
No, he did not.
You haven't looked at this, Ben?
I've spoken to Mary Dupree through emails, who's at the state level. I've not seen it work in person, no. With a system locking up like this, when you're talking about a lot of different factors. A lot of this is internet-based, so a lot of it is going to be dependent on your internet capabilities. Not knowing Franklin County's setup, though, I could not speculate at all as to why it would be locking up.
How good's our internet?
I'm sorry?
How good is our internet?
We have a 50 megabyte by 5 megabyte internet, so 50 megabits down, 5 megabits up. So I would say we're ahead of the curve by most respects. But again, that's not to say that that was their issue. I mean, not being there, I can't, not knowing their network, I couldn't speak to that.
Mike, you're a lot more conversant with this than I am, and I'm assuming the other two commissioners. What's your input on this situation? Because you've studied it for the council, correct?
Right, well, this is basically what I do for a living. I travel throughout the U.S. and do this kind of stuff, do implementation, training, and setup, and so forth. And I'm familiar with these things, and I talk to them about their internet speed. Their internet speed is substantially lower than us. I mean, it's not even in comparison to what Ben just said. So that is part of the issue. Yes, there is some internet latency, probably issues with their system. I can't say that that's what caused the crash. I don't know. When I was there viewing the system, it never crashed on me. I was there 2 to 3 days that they were implementing the scanning capability, and they were raving about it. They thought it was great at that time. They thought it. Yes, they did confirm what Melinda said. There were more screens, more pop-ups, but they felt it was easier to use. There was less manual typing input on their side. The clerk over there held her fingers about that far apart and said she had this much checks to input, and she was able to do that in a half an hour, where it would have taken her a day with the CSI system, and that was her. So she said she liked the financial reporting aspect a whole lot better. The other girls in the office said the same things, and I talked to a number of them in the office. And I was expecting after 2 or 3 days of implementation for there to be headaches, because I've encountered that myself. When you get into a new program like this, there is going to be some headaches. It's just inherent. It just happens. But you have to work through them. And I asked them what the support was like from CSI or from Odyssey, from JTAC, and they said it was very helpful, very beneficial, that they were there all the time, that they were there for 2 weeks on site to help them. So I don't know what, after the fact, what happened, but during that time that I was there talking to them, and I talked to her again later afterwards, probably 2 weeks before Melinda and the judge went there, and they said the support was still very good, that they were happy with what they had, and that they wouldn't go back.
And I think that all depends on who you talk to, because we talked to the girls that actually used the system, and they were not in favor of the change.
I talked to the same girls, and they seem to be
So
fine
we have a
with it.
difference of opinion here.
Were
Yeah, I
they on
guess
the
so. I guess
CSI
it goes there.
system before? Was Franklin County, was
They were with
Franklin County on
CSI.
CSI too?
They were.
So you'd be kind of comparing apples and apples.
When Melinda's done, I would like to speak
Right.
briefly.
Absolutely.
I butt in enough if you're not done. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I just feel like to change a system that you don't use, and I know you do, but not to the extent that we do.
I agree.
It should be a decision of the people that use the system. And no one in my office is in favor of the change. Like I said, I just don't think Odyssey is ready to have the capabilities that CSI already has. I feel like we would be taking a step backward.
Judge?
I respectfully disagree with Melinda with regard to taking a step backward. Melinda set up the appointment, I'll call it, for us to all travel to Franklin County and speak with the ladies in the clerk's office who work with it. Thank you for doing that, Melinda. And it was a good, productive time, I think, for all of us, because it also gave me a better appreciation. Although I work with the clerk's office a lot, and I respect the clerk and the ladies who work there, they have hard jobs and they have a lot to do, there's no question about it. But it gave me an even better understanding of their concerns and what they had to deal with. So I just thought it was a good, productive day all the way around. We got to spend some time together and talk about all of our concerns. The reason I don't believe it would be a step backward is because the Indiana Supreme Court vetted all of these providers and they chose Odyssey, and there's been a piecemeal, slow, but inevitable progression toward the counties, the 92 counties in Indiana, switching over to Odyssey, and we would eventually then be in step with all of the other counties in the state. That's the way that it's going to go eventually, I believe. Barb Troop and Melinda spent quite a bit of time talking to the ladies about the day-to-day actually inputting data and things like that. And their system did lock up when we were down there. The ladies did say, though, that they weren't sure that that had anything to do with Odyssey, but had probably to do with their system and their lack of capabilities as far as their own IT and their own computers. They said this may well just be our own in-house computer problem. So I can't say at all that that was because of the Odyssey system. I didn't get from the ladies that they were unhappy with the switch. They did say, of course, that they had to learn the system. They said that the people were there from JTAC for 2 weeks. They came down to the Franklin County Courthouse to train them for 2 weeks, and then they're there, of course, for follow-up support. So I do agree that the clerk's office works more with it on hand on a daily basis than I do. I do work with it, both of the courts do. As I said, I respectfully disagree with the clerk. I have all the respect in the world for her and all the work that she does and how hard her employees work. I do feel like, though, it would be in the best interest of the county to go forward with the Odyssey, not just for the money saving, but because it's going to keep us in line with the way the rest of the courts throughout the state are going, as far as just sharing information, being able to bring up on my computer whether there are warrants out for someone from another county, what their criminal history is from another county, whether they're out on bond for a serious felony from halfway across the state, whether there's a guardianship order in place if there's a out of some other county, when there's a custody case before me involving the same child. Just a lot of different reasons that would help make my life easier on a daily basis. So the circuit court is in favor of it. Judge Ertl is here. I wouldn't presume to speak for him. I'll let him speak to that himself.
I had a question for you. So you said that eventually this is going to be implemented across the state of Indiana.
That's my belief. I believe that it will. And I could tell you, I did not bring it with me, how many counties, and of course some counties have a lot of different courts, how many counties in the state are now on Odyssey. Do you have that, Mike? Can you tell them? I'm nearsighted. Can you tell them that? I can't see that.
This is a little different. Over half the counties or courts are already on Odyssey and switched to converted over. We're surrounded by Rush, Union, Henry, Franklin County on it. Wayne, I don't see on this list, but I thought Wayne was on there.
Excuse me for a minute. I do know that CSI has 49 counties in the state.
I think that's right. And there are some counties, though, also in what they call the pipeline to switch to Odyssey that haven't switched yet. And I guess the only other thing I would say in closing is one of the more recent counties, I think Franklin County is the most recent county maybe to switch over to Odyssey, is Marion County, which of course is the biggest, busiest county you could have to contend with. And in fact, the Marion County courts aren't just in the city-county building, they're spread out throughout Indianapolis. A lot of different employees, a lot of different computer systems. They have switched to Odyssey. So it is my belief that, and it's not going to be perfect, and there would be a learning curve, and I'm not saying there wouldn't be any inconvenience for the clerk. And I would regret that. But if Marion County can switch over to Odyssey, I know that Odyssey can handle Fayette County. I just feel comfortable saying that. So with that, I'll close, and if Judge Ertl has anything he wants to say, he can speak for his court.
My concern all along has been the imaging capability. That means every paper that's filed in a case is scanned and available in electronic form. Before we had that, to get a paper, like in a divorce case, you'd have to go get the file, the physical file, and open it up, page through the papers, and find what you're looking for. And for quite some time now, we have been scanning under the CSI, and that's the feature I think that I use frequently. Is if, for example, if I want to look at a petition and a divorce, I find the case number, and if I want to look at something in that case, you look at the docket sheet from day one to the present day. Everything that's happened is listed in chronological order, and if I want to pick one of those papers, it's scanned. I just punch a button, and it's visible on my computer. When we went through this same decision-making process last year or year before, I had always said that I don't want to lose that scanning capability. And so, although Odyssey supported that's a technical term. Supported scanning. They didn't pay for it. And we had to buy our own scanners, pay for the software. And so the last time I left it with our last IT guy, I said, I'm fine with CSI, it works good. I love the scanning procedure. And if we switch to Odyssey, we'd get Odyssey free, but would still have to pay for the scanning as much as we were paying for Odyssey. But now, technology being what it is, it's my understanding that if you switch to Odyssey, not only does it support it, but we don't have to pay anything for the software for scanning. That's my understanding?
I asked Franklin County numerous times because I've heard that story. Odyssey has always supported scanning. They just didn't ever let that piece go live because it had been tested. If they weren't ready for it, they were just kind of starting. They didn't want to take on that responsibility as well, so they wanted to wait with that piece. And I knew that this was coming live with Franklin County since the summer. And I waited for that to go into place in December and viewed it. Asked a number of times, are you using the same scan equipment, same exact scan equipment? Have you purchased any software? We've purchased no software. You know, is it any different? No, it's no different. Still able to see it. I saw how it was used in Melinda's office. Again, Melinda, I don't use the software. You're right, I don't use the software. I just can visually see what you showed me, what they showed me, and the steps and procedures looked to be pretty much identical. And I asked if there was any more headache, doing the scanning, and they said no, they actually thought it was a little better. They liked it a little bit better. That's what they had told me at the time that I was there. So there was no additional cost to us, and anyway, I've got it in writing from the state that there is no cost to us at all, period, zero cost. Now, there is a fee, that $2 fee that comes out of the $7 JTAC fee, that when we become an Odyssey County, we would lose, but she still gets her other $2 perpetuation, $2 from another fee. I don't know what these fees all are.
That's the clerk's perpetuation, which is what I pay my part-time from.
Right. Well, that would be another issue that we would need to discuss from my understanding for the perpetuation fund, how it should be used. But she would still receive that. She would lose the $2 out of the $7 JTAC fee that the Senate initiated, I don't know, last year or something, or a year and a half ago, that this $7 Odyssey fee for upkeep that we don't pay it, so I'm taking out the fees for filings and so forth. That $2 would not go to her. She still gets another $2 for another fee that's created. I don't know these fees.
So are you saying that the $2 she's
instead of getting 4, she would get 2.
Okay.
She gets 4 currently.
No, I do not. I get 2 for the document storage and 2 for the automated record keeping. The automated record keeping would go to Odyssey. I would still get the document storage at $2.
Okay. So, but you're losing $2.
Right.
And that $2 is what you use to pay your part-time help,
That's
is that what you're
correct.
saying?
It's from the perpetuation fund.
So those monies would have to be made up?
Well, don't we have a cost of keeping the system we have now?
I'm sorry?
Don't we have a cost of keeping the system we have now every year?
I'm sorry, Bart, I don't understand.
Don't we have a cost of keeping the system we have now? Do we have an annual cost on that?
Oh, yes, definitely. We haven't paid it yet, in fact. It's
Which is how much?
$13,900 for the system. And then all the other connections, we have 20 users, so total, we're looking at about $25,000.
So we would not have those fees
But
if
the actual
we
clerk's
switch to
fee
Odyssey.
is $13,900. That's what they say, yes, that's what they say.
So we'd be saving the $25,000, we could take that out of there.
Actually, almost 28 because we haven't taken in the probation side of it as well. They're paying $2,400 a year, or $2,400 a year for their piece of the puzzle. That would also be, they would benefit from this as well. And
So-
Jenna came to speak to that too.
Okay.
So the money, before we go, the money she would lose could be made up by the savings of switching to Odyssey because you're not paying those fees. Is that
Correct, but that was also my understanding, and my understanding from the statute that part-time fees are not supposed to be used from that fund.
Well, then you need to give me money for my
Well, you're
part-time.
right, you're right, we do.
Because we've been using it.
You're right, we do. We need to address that, we need to fix that for you.
Okay. Judge, you have anything else?
Yeah, I would just like to add strictly from the probation perspective, we're in favor of having the Odyssey. Mainly cost, as he said, we are currently paying $200 a month maintenance fee to PBS, which is our case management system, and quite frankly, I'm not impressed with it. We've had it for, I think, approximately 15 years. That maintenance is basically the license to keep it going. However, there are a lot of glitches in that programming, especially when I do stats, which are due on a quarterly basis. I rely on that case management system to give correct statistical numbers to the state, and every time, I've been here 2 years, I find something new every time with this system that it's not doing something correctly, and I'm having to call PBS to get that corrected. There's no manual, there's no training from PBS. It's basically what we were taught 15 years ago, continuing changes with that aren't necessarily relayed to me. So I have looked into switching case management programs when I became chief probation officer, and the cost for Odyssey is free. And there are many probation departments, they can use case management as part of the Odyssey program. We did have them come to a demonstration, and the case management system we have now, which is tracking the supervision and probation fee payment, drug fee testing, results and things of that nature, it's all still covered by Odyssey. In fact, Odyssey has a couple of programs that aren't available to us now with PBS that would help us as far as scheduling people for classes, being able to just look up more information. In addition, there recently was an email sent to me from the Judicial Center indicating that through JTAC and Odyssey, those counties that have Odyssey case management system, judges, court staff, probation staff have the ability to search and view court records across multiple case management systems. Now, that's only for those systems that have Odyssey. That's especially good for the juvenile system in looking at legal history searches of juveniles maybe that are from other counties. Before we make a recommendation to the court, we would be able to obtain more detailed information from other counties than what we have access to currently. Also for pre-sentence investigation reports, which is in the adult court system, that's prior to sentencing, we're required to get the legal history of someone, and that requires us calling each clerk's office throughout the county to, once we're identified that they have a case in that county through what we call DocsPop, and I don't even know the whole system of that, I just know that's what we go to for legal history. But to get the specific information, we have to call each county personally. I think that Odyssey will make the probation department more efficient in performing their responsibilities and duties to the court and to the county. We already deal with JTAC with our Insight program. They're requiring more and more of probation that we have to submit to the state level, to the Insight web, risk assessments, pre-sentence reports. They're gradually, everything that we're required to do is going to be required that we do it on the state system. As far as technical help and support with JTAC, I have had to call them on several occasions when I'm doing statistical reports. They're very quick, same day or next day service. I can contact the help desk at any time. I find that they've been quick in responding to helping out with any issues technically that I may have. And I may be speaking, I don't know that I know all the details, but it's my understanding that right now JTAC is offering grant opportunities for counties that are willing to switch over to Odyssey, and I'm not quite sure how long that's going to last. I know that in our regional meetings with the probation departments, I believe it's probably from the Judicial Center that it's supported with Odyssey, and I too believe that we are basically eventually all going to be on Odyssey. So basically, I just wanted to present that for the probation department, it's more cost effective and it's definitely makes our office more efficient. And Chief Probation Officer Regional meeting that we have here once a month with our surrounding counties, Henry, Franklin, Union, and Wayne. I had asked in general, those that have Odyssey, if they had any issues, and there are no major issues. Now, I'm not saying there's not any glitches that come up, but no one has indicated that they wouldn't have got Odyssey if they had the choice. That there's nothing been major that's been presented to me as far as the probation side of it goes. So I just kind of wanted to add that in there.
Okay. Thanks, Jenna. You have anything else, Mike?
Well, this is kind of a time-sensitive issue because, as Jenna alluded to, there's some grant opportunities that are available to us. One of them is Ben has in his slate a server purchase, which I don't know if you've made that yet, that we can make use of, and then they'll do an IT assessment of our equipment too. My understanding is the computers have been all updated for the most part, but that's not to say that is all the computers in the entire county.
Yeah, we're actually pretty close.
Okay.
But peripherals like scanners and things are insufficient.
Okay, so I mean, there's a possibility that we can utilize some of that. That grant money will go away when and if it becomes mandated by the state. There will be no need for that grant opportunity more. So that server is about $5,000 to $6,000. So you got to add that on top of that cost, and that's not an annual savings to us each and every time. That's a one-time savings, but annually we're looking at recouping $28,000. And obviously, as you know, as our role as a council, we're tasked with trying to find ways to manage the county's money and the taxpayers' money in a fair and judicious way. As a taxpayer, I want my money to be spent fairly or appropriately. As a councilman, I want to be able to have funds when the budget hearings, they come to us and they request, pay raises for the employee, which they definitely need. They're underpaid. We have no way to make the money to manufacture it. We have to be creative in finding ways. This isn't just purely about saving money, although that's part of what's behind it, but it's also to enhance our capabilities as a county. And I know that there will be some headaches. I've never encountered an implementation where there's not been some hiccups and there's been some headaches and there's been some people that have had a difficult time adjusting to it. You have to work extra hard with those people to make sure that the transition is as smooth as possible, and that's the best that you can do. There's never a convenient time to do this. It's always a bad time, but sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and you have to do it.
Well, I've done some research on this a little bit, and I think eventually at the end of this, the state of Indiana is going to switch to Odyssey in all the 92 counties with the information that I found. There are some systems that you implement that are going to have problems. You're going to run into things, and change is not easy. But we are always trying to find a way to save money for the county and do things that's better. I found more pros than cons with this Odyssey program. I have. I mean, I've heard a little bit of complaint, but nothing to the point where you're just going to say no, you can't do it. So, I think I'm going to make a motion to switch to Odyssey, and you guys can.
In all due respect, I really don't think it's fair that that decision be made at this time. I think that we should have a chance, give CSI a chance to defend themselves. As far as the case lookups, there's a state law that they have passed, the state has passed, and CSI you are capable of looking through CSI for the history of that criminal. But anyway, I ask that you not make that decision right now. I did not know this was going to be on the agenda. I did not know that this decision would be made at this time. I feel like you need to give us some time to prepare more for the decision.
How long have you been talking about this?
Since the summer.
Well, this will come up to
Well,
a
yeah,
couple
it's
years,
been
a couple
3
of years ago, and we
years.
went through
Right.
this then, and we had the courts for it and the clerk's office on the opposite side.
And it's
So
been 3 years since I've been
Yes.
clerk, 2011.
Yeah, so it's
when
been
we
going on
started
for
it,
about
yeah.
3 years now,
My-
whether
my-
we should or we shouldn't.
My problem is I've seen some of the documentation that CSI has put out there, and it's been erroneous, it's been error-filled, They reported that Franklin County only paid X amount of dollars for their annual upkeep, which is half of what they actually paid. The clerk told me herself, I was holding a report in front of me from CSI, their proposal, or what they were documenting, what they were proposing to have Franklin County pay them. And the clerk said, that is absolutely not true. We paid $29,000 a year, not $13,000. So where they're dreaming this up, I mean,
Who pays their, I'm sorry?
Franklin County was paying about $29,000 a year.
Oh, I thought you were referring to us.
No.
Yeah.
Franklin, CSI was saying that they only paid 13, and the clerk said that's absolutely not true. Don't know where these figures came from. We've been paying this from day one. They pay more than what our county pays. I don't understand why, but
Well, and obviously, you're for it and I'm against it. All the talking we can do, I still feel like we need to give CSI a chance to defend their company.
well, we haven't had JTAC in here to defend themselves either. This is just research on our own that we've done. I gain nothing by this. I gain nothing financially.
I think at the end, I think the way this is working out is this has been going on for 2 years.
3.
And 3 years. So we've had plenty of time
They've been
to
in
defend
before.
both sides, either way. I mean, we have.
And last time when JTAC was in here, from what I understand, from all accounts and witnesses have said there, it was a mockery of the embarrassment that this county displayed in berating JTAC, and there's no opportunity for that. There's no reason for that to go on.
I mean, I'm in.
I beg to differ
Well,
on that.
that's from everybody that was involved.
The other thing is, I like what the judge said earlier, and I don't mean to say this with all due respect, but if Marion County can do it, why can't we do it? I mean, it's just, we're not even a quarter of the size, and they've got a lot more going on. So, my argument is it saves money. It's the money that we spend on CSI, that's somebody's position here at the courthouse that, everybody's saying they need people back and we need more money. And, change is terrible. I understand. It's a hard thing to deal with. But, you have bright and smart people up in the clerk's office. I've dealt with them. I think they're going to pick this up faster than what everybody thinks they're going to. And the other thing is with Odyssey, you said that they're going to be here for however long we need them?
2 weeks.
Protection.
Actually, the time-sensitive part is it doesn't occur in October and November. It occurs prior to that. It occurs about a month after the resolution is signed, where they start getting with the clerk and the court system to get records and compile all the information. So this isn't just a 2-month process. It's a longer process than that.
We have a contract with CSI, is that correct?
We do. It runs till December 31st.
Through December 31st?
And we have to give them 90 days notice if we are to terminate that contract.
Mr. Bedore, did you make that in the form of a motion?
I did make that in the form of a motion,
Is there a
sir.
second to the motion?
I'm reluctant.
Could I hear the motion again?
The motion is to implement the Odyssey program at the courthouse.
I'm reluctant to force any office holder to do something. However, in this case with, both the judges and probation in favor of it, I'm going to second the motion.
Been moved and seconded that we adopt the Odyssey program. Now for further comments. Melinda, you got anything else to say before we vote?
I've said everything that I
Okay.
can say.
Does anybody else have any comments?
With the resolution, there's a memorandum of understanding for participation in the statewide court case management system, which is Odyssey. And that's to be signed by both judges in any courts in the county, which would be Judge Ertl and Judge Bush in this case. So we'll want that with the resolution.
Okay. Anything else, Chris? No, only on this?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Does anybody else, judges, want to make any more comments?
No, only that I appreciate your vote, and I think it will move the court system forward. As I said before, I have all the respect in the world for the clerk and her deputies. They have hard jobs, and they do it well, and I will do everything I can do to help them with their transition and work with them. And I agree with Commissioner Bador. I think they're quite competent. And there's always going to be a period of a learning curve with something new, but I believe they will be able to grasp that. Whenever the memorandum is prepared for me to sign, I'll be happy to sign it.
It's ready, it's prepared right now.
I'll come up then and sign it and then go back to, you
We'll
have
get the
it.
resolution.
Well, let's vote and see if we're gonna do this first,
Okay.
Bess, and then,
All right.
okay. Anybody else got any more comments? Said it's been going on for 3 years, so it is time to make a decision. It looks like it is gonna save us money. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We will adopt Odyssey. Now, Judge, you wanna sign Chris's?
That's not what she
Huh?
I'll depend on your review of that.
Maybe the vice
Oh,
president.
boy, that's okay. I've got some for you to sign later.
That's kind of tit for tat, all right?
Bridge one something.
Yeah, see you later.
Judge,
Yes.
she's very about that, but I think once it's
Try to really, help them and work with them as much as I can.
like she feels like she's been debunked, but not like this was a conspiracy, but there was more people are running for it
I
than against it.
wish that we could all be together on it.
That's not gonna be possible, Ben.
I wish
It's been
we
going on
could.
3 years.
She's-
I just wouldn't pros and
Supposed to
cons.
sign it.
Pros.
She doesn't have to. It still goes into effect.
I just want to
There's a
move
written
the court
agreement.
forward
Yeah, she
the best
left.
way I
She'll sign
can.
it.
That's all I want to do. No,
She left.
I hate it when, people get upset. I don't like that.
I think it's the right
Thank
decision.
you. Thank you for doing that. See you later.
Okay. That's one problem solved. No, she don't. Yeah, but it's
She doesn't have to.
She don't have to. She would.
May appear at the end of this document.
Yeah. Do we have to sign it too, right?
Then you sign the red bill.
Okay, we'll do that afterwards. On to the next, mail.
Mr. President, I have something from 911
Okay.
that it's Terry Bennett's annual report. It's like 5,000 pages long, and what it does, it breaks down all the calls by type, by number, by department, etc. I'd like to have that included in the minutes under mail, please.
Okay.
Just, I think.
We also have an annual report from the Fayette County Health Department showing what they've done. We also include that in the minutes. We got notice in the mail from the consultant we had on the dam up at Manlove Park. From Christopher Burke. And that, the flood hazard has been lowered to now where we don't have to hire somebody to inspect the dam, that the state will do that for free. That's going to save about $4,000 a year, but the state is suggesting that we take that money we spent on that and use for repairs of the dam to bring it up to standards. What is this, Department of Homeland Security?
That's me.
Okay, Debbie?
Hold on a second. We received correspondence from Federal Emergency Management Agency. And this, the letter talks about back in September of 2011 that the Department of Homeland Security's Federal Emergency Management Agency provided us with preliminary copies of flood insurance rate map and flood insurance study report for Fayette County and incorporated areas. And FEMA has posted digital copies of these report materials on their website, and it gives information then forward about that. So I would think this would have effect on, probably, Barton, wouldn't it have effect on people and their flood insurance needs and such in the county?
Right, and what it'll cost them, yes.
Doesn't it have an overall influence on the overall insurance rates too?
Yes.
Mr. President?
I
believe
think
it
just on the
does.
flood insurance rates.
Just the flood insurance.
Just the flood insurance rates, yes.
Yeah. That other was that, I think what Frank is talking about, remember a couple years ago when we got that information and it didn't go to us about, and it was something that did, I forget what that rating criteria was. Remember that? And we sent a letter up saying that, you know,
Are you talking about on flood insurance?
not on flood insurance, on other things that
Okay.
would impact homeowners insurance.
Okay.
Remember that?
No.
No, you don't. Okay, I've got a file on you. I do have a couple other things. On the next mail item, the extension office, they sent word to Sharon that they are not going to be closing the office on the 14th as originally planned. And Diana Wright had to leave, and she said she had received a call from NDOT this morning that funding for Bridge 25 was approved. And I'm not sure where Bridge 25 is. I guess the bridge map or inventory
It's out on
map
the
is.
Harrisburg Road, is it
West
not?
County Road 300 North.
Right. Just on past through
That's
Harrisburg, where that dip is.
Franklin, or Francis Williams place it.
Yes.
Okay. Also, there is an NDOT change order that was approved at the last meeting. That change order number 8 didn't include change order 7, and they've changed some things in it. You had previously signed it, but she needs another signature on it, but I'm not sure who. So we're going to find out who else needs to sign that here before everybody leaves today.
Maybe.
I don't know whether it's vice president, whether it's myself to attest, I'm not sure.
I don't know, we'll have to ask her.
Okay. I think so.
Okay. Old business, housing rehab grant, Joyce McCarthy.
I just wanted to stop by, give you some updates on the program. And Mark, if you would please pass this out. There are just some bullet points on things I want to tell you today. Indiana Housing did, as of the first of the year, make some changes to the program. Currently, what we're looking at is applying for $275,000. With all the changes that they had put into effect as of the first of the year, they have decided instead of having the grant due on March the 7th, that it's now due on February the 28th. The award announcement will be April 24th. The county received 12 applications. 11 of those applications would fall under the criteria of aging in place. That criteria is that you have to be 55 years old or older, or have a disabled person in the household. There was another category which is called families with children, and that's pretty self-explanatory how you would qualify for that. Of course, under all these categories, you have to qualify under a certain income level. With the changes, the Indiana Housing now is having a minimum of 70 points that you have to score to even apply for the project. It helps that the county has a comprehensive plan that will help with scoring. With the applicants, what we are suggesting for the county to do is to have this grant be 100% aging in place. We only have one applicant, that is families with children. If we include them, the county will lose 10 points. 10 points can make or break your project. So that is, our suggestion is to go with the 100% aging in place. Also, with the points, the county has an option of donating local match, and that is, county funds toward the project. I have put two that maybe you could possibly consider. For 1 point on the application, if the county committed $1,506, that would gain another point on the application. If the county committed $3,012, that would be 2 points. This round is the second round for the year, and there's very limited funds. It's going to be extremely competitive. So I was just bringing this proposal to you to give us permission to go with 100% aging in place, and if the county would even propose putting a local match dollar amount toward the project. So if anyone would have any questions or anything.
One thing about putting some dollar amounts towards the project, where we're going to get money to do that,
Well, there is like I've talked to you before, there is a 10% match requirement. We are looking at the contractor contribution for most of this. This is just a proposal that, if you want to score those points. We are also working with Habitat to see if there's anything that they can help provide the county and the city on their applications. We are also working with Area 9 to see if they have any current people in their system that they may be receiving funds for. So we are also working with Energizing Indiana to try to get, to help meet that local match. But mostly we will depend on contractor contribution, which we have, as far as our agency, we have depended on that with actually every owner-occupied grant that we have proposed. I am just throwing the dollar amounts out there.
What has the county done in the past? I don't remember that the county has provided any
No,
money for this,
last
have they?
time the county did not provide any local funds. They did not. And that's why counties are a little bit harder to get funded because, that's one of the reasons that they're a little bit harder to get funded.
One of the reasons we mention this is to help you score higher on the grant application.
You understand?
To get funded. That's the only reason.
Right.
And that money will go towards somebody's house. But these grants are very competitive. I know the auditor was a grant administrator. She probably elaborate that they're really pushing harder and harder for matching dollars. And I know you guys have been involved on the other grants. It's just hard to get anything funded with no money at all. It's the fact that everything's donated.
Yeah. But I don't think we'd be in a position today to say if or how much we could fund. We'll study that between now and our next meeting, but
Can meet again on the 18th.
On the 18th, but you heard previously to me, we don't even have anything in our budget to pay our utilities in the courthouse.
Okay.
So
Well,
we're-
this is something
we're
I
really
feel that,
struggling.
to serve you the way I
understand.
should,
I understand.
that I need to bring this up.
Yeah.
February 18th, okay. And I'm assuming that you want us to go forward with that, with 100% in aging in place. Okay, okay. So I will just leave this, the dollar amount up to you. You guys let us know how you want to move forward, if you want to or
Let's study
not.
that. We'll have another meeting in the middle of the month, and that'll be prior to your time when you have to get it in.
Yes. And I will have other documents that, the assurance and certifications and drug-free certification, that is actually part of the application. So I assume that Diana will bring that to you to have you sign it.
Okay. Okay.
So, okay,
All right.
thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you.
Well, if I can find that agenda here somewhere. You still on my agenda? Okay. Annex on the elevator, we've already taken care of that. New business, payment to sheriff's attorney. Billy?
Sorry you had to wait, Sheriff.
What?
I wish I had nothing else to do today. I could be over here. Did I give you one
Same
yet,
here.
Mary?
No.
Chris, you need a daily planner? Good?
I'm good. I'll take one.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Top of the list, huh? Yeah, no kidding. I think this guy has some seniority. Now I got more than everybody here with the county. One more. What these are bills from having our hearing, our merit board hearing, involving Deputy Steele and his eventual retirement. We want to see what's available. We used an attorney out of Columbus that was recommended by Howard Williams, who is the sheriff's attorney out of South Bend, to handle these kind of merit board hearings. They're very intense. They're very detailed. There has to be certain rules followed. We can't make mistakes. So I brought this guy in, and obviously with that, as most of you know, with litigation, we have court reporters that we had to bring in because everything has to be done that way and forwarded to, if there was an appeal, would be forwarded to the circuit court. There is no retry of those. They have to be, they get the evidence we presented and everything, they have to, and then they can make their decision. We had a witness that we brought in as far as SOPs and using Graham versus Connor on the force continuum, so to speak, in that level. So we have the bills, they're there. They total, the total is $20,716.77. I know that sounds like a lot of money, and that is a lot of money, but when it comes to litigation, I'm not sure if that's a lot of money or not. I'm hearing it's not, compared to what it could have been, what we could have went through. But everybody has rights in those merit board hearings. The charged as well as we do, and we have to make sure everybody's rights are met. That's sort of how the system is supposed to work. It's my duty to make sure that it's done that way and properly. That way, maybe it limits any coming back and any lawsuits, any of that kind of stuff. It mitigates that, I think, and by doing things the right way. So that's sort of what the costs are. The itemized bills are there for what everything was. The guy we hired, we got a better rate on his normal hourly rate. Is normally $500 an hour. He worked with other sheriffs in the state, and he tries to work with the sheriffs because he knows limited budgets. So everything is there for you guys to look over. I'm also looking to get them paid. You guys have some funds for that. So any questions? I would field any question you have, any concerns. I guess we could compare it to other, litigation that we're paying for, and that's probably a drop in the bucket. So, just my opinion, but any questions, any comments, feel free to fire them up here.
For the people who are listening and watching, it sounds like a lot of money, but when you start talking about these kinds of things and protecting yourself from a potential lawsuit, which could run to hundreds of thousands of dollars,
right?
You can't hire in Indianapolis, you can't hire the worst attorney in Indianapolis for less than probably $200 an hour. It's simply the cost of doing business. It is the way it is. It's not like only one likes, but it's the way things are done. And those gentlemen and or ladies go through a lot of years of college and experience to be able to command those rates. So yeah, it sounds expensive, but it's a drop in the bucket for what could have happened without their type of influence and knowledge.
Well, I think the days of proceeding forward on your own are pretty much gone because it's just too risky and too dangerous of an environment out there because we're not educated enough in those fields to know what rights we are violating, if we are at all. We don't think, the days of, hey, let's settle this in my office, shake hands, move on, I think are gone with our society. And it's a shame it's gone that way, but it's part of doing business, it's part of what we do, and I don't want to make mistakes. I don't like to lose. I like to make sure everybody's rights are covered, mine as well as who we're dealing with. So that's sort of why we went the route we've done. And it's the first time that I can think of in my 20-some years of being there at the department that we had that level of a merit board hearing to that degree. I've never even seen it and been to one. Normally, things that pop up in here, I've seen that and I've seen one of those, or I've been around it, I've heard talk about it. We've never experienced that here. So again, I wasn't going to tread into unknown territory and make a mistake when we can't afford to make mistakes. Look at our liability insurance. So I wasn't about to do that.
We can't afford to get
No, we cannot.
claim that liability insurance. Like I said, it is.
Especially a $100,000 deductible.
It is
Yeah.
a cost
For
of
every
doing business,
event.
and it does put a finality to this issue, so
Yes.
I would entertain a motion that we pay the bill.
So moved.
Second.
We'll move and second that this bill be approved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
Debbie,
Sheriff.
on those checks, they had cut them to each individual that I gave you a bill for?
Yes.
We could cut them, okay. Now I need to
We'll just make out separate claims and,
okay. Do I need to do that, or would you want me to come over and we do that?
well, if I have any questions, I'll call
He's a
because,
Okay.
because it'll be coming out of the commissioner's budget. I'll probably just have Barton sign the claims since
Okay.
they've approved it.
All right, you guys have anything else for me? Obviously with the weather, we got weather coming in this afternoon, so everybody get your milk and your bread, get home. Those are the mainstays from what I hear.
And stay home.
So, our SUVs, obviously, there's some grumbling about having those, but I would ask you to ask the people that we went to their houses and their calls and their regs. They're not grumbling. So, they're doing great, They're sort of exactly what we have them for. So, we're motoring along.
We're gonna be back here tonight, you might have to chauffeur us in here.
Well, you never know. So, they have to. So, all right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
So they can bring it up if you want to.
That's up to you. If you think it's relevant.
Well, it might be relevant for the people. Under old business, we have mentioned before, moving the area planning commission in with the surveyor. They are making plans to do that. Bill McDaniels is starting to pack up. The reason we're doing that is because of the nature of his business. Bill McDaniels has to be out of his office quite a bit, and it's not fair to the public to not be able to come down at least be able to talk to somebody or be able to call somebody, get an answer, or set an appointment for him. So in the near future, Bill McDaniels will be moving down in the surveyor's office. Is there any patrons' concerns?
I've got, mainly I just want to ask how to handle this procedure.
Would you identify?
My name's Dale Brandt. Over the past couple, about 2 weeks ago, I had an incident with one of the county trucks, and basically he was backing up a hill on Bentley Road, and there was only about a one-lane line of traffic there, and he was trying to do his best, but he didn't, in my opinion, didn't do a very good job of using some common sense, pushing back some snow. He's backing up the hill. I'm coming from the south. He's backing up the hill south, and there's a hill there. Put me in the ditch, tore my vehicle up. Who pays the bill?
Did you file a police report?
Not yet. But I could have very well taken out your truck and got hurt. Your county supervisor did know about it. Like I said, I don't mean any ill will towards the driver or anything. He was trying to do his best. I just think there was some poor judgment used. You don't back a truck up a hill where you have no line of sight for the other oncoming
I
traffic.
think that would be a situation for the insurance company, would it not?
He was backing up the hill trying to plow off a floating snow area in the hill, rather than go a mile down the road and turn around and come back. And I talked to him about it.
Yeah.
And we were under orange essential travel only.
I'm gonna ask a question. Did the driver ask you about calling law enforcement?
No.
Okay. Did you say anything to him about? I mean, anytime there's an accident, somebody's got to show up and have documentation for it. And I'm just trying to get, you know.
Well, I got probably close to a $3,000 bill on a vehicle now.
And that was when we had a condition orange on the weather where.
That's when we had all the drifting. That was that Saturday we wrecked the truck and everything else. He told me about it when he come in.
Yeah.
He said he was back trying to save, going all the way down the road and turn around and come back. You can't just turn them tandems around the middle of the road.
Right.
And he was backing up trying to plow it off to make it wider, is what he was trying to do.
There's
He had his flashing lights and everything on it, just.
You just can't see. If anybody's ever drove Bentley Road in that hill, you can't see. I understand his side of it, but you don't back up a hill, period.
Right there.
Huh?
It's like in a gully.
It's a high drift area. I've lived around here for going on 13 years now. That is one of the worst spots I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But you don't back a freaking truck up. Go down, turn around, come back, push the snow back, go down to the next road, turn back around, do it again. That's just common sense and safety.
I hate to say, but we do back up hills when we can't sand them, when they're slick, but so we can't.
Then, there again, he just admitted you guys are using unsafe practices driving trucks.
You can't drive up forward, you gotta back up and sand them.
Well, either way it goes, I need to know the procedure to file this.
Well, you should.
Because I can see him and I's already gonna have issues over this because, number one, if they're not operating trucks in a safe manner, I don't care if you're backing up or not.
You should have filed a police report. 'Cause
Well, I didn't file it yet.
That's what the investigating, you call an officer to the scene, because that way he looks at and includes in his report all the people who are involved, what happened, time of day, road conditions, weather conditions, etc. And we don't have that now because you didn't do that. Plus your insurance company, for your insurance company to even be involved is going to require a police report if it's over $1,000 worth of damage.
Jay, you said this was Saturday?
Yeah. Not this Saturday, not last Saturday, Saturday before.
So it wasn't the first, it was the
25th.
25th.
Well, I will truck myself over to the sheriff's department and go ahead and file all the work.
Okay.
Okay.
So they can go from there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other patients' concerns? Need approval to approve the claims and the payroll.
Need a motion to approve the
Yes.
claims of the payroll?
I'm sorry, excuse me, so moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, claims and the payroll be approved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That's, other than accepting bids for the renting of the county farm, that's all we have on the agenda. Those are due to be open at 11, so we will recess this meeting until 11 o'clock.
We are ready, Freddie.
Let's start this meeting again. Debbie, will you open the bids for the farm ground rent?
This bid is from Henry and James Pentecost, bidding $120 per acre for Renton County Farm.
Okay.
This is from Dave Savoy. Is he present or? It is Dane. Is that you? Yeah, that's right. Okay. $85 per acre. And the last one, we just received 3 bids, and this one is from Ryan Kuhn, bids $120 per acre. Two at $120 and one at $85.
Okay, so we advertised this, that you would turn in your bids, and then you would have a chance to raise the bids at this meeting. So, does anybody want to raise their bids?
130.
Okay,
What's your name, sir?
Dane Savoy.
Thank you.
all right. Either one of the other two want to raise past that? We're not even close to where we was the last time we rented, I don't believe.
What was it last time?
I don't have that
I think it was $185, but that's still cheap.
I'll do 135,
And your name?
Ryan Coon.
140.
We should have an auctioneer, we.
You bid $135, and then Dane $140.
Yes. Are you gonna raise the 140? Huh? That's not as much as you gave the last time, is it? Huh? Mr. Savoy has the 140?
He has a 140 bid.
Anybody else wanna raise the 140? That's pretty cheap rent. I mean, I haven't farmed that farm up there, I don't know how bad it is, but 140 is much rent. You've been a farming, right? If that's all we have bid, it's up to the other two commissioners what they want to do. Whether they want to accept that or rebid it again. We're talking about 85 acres, if I remember right?
Yeah.
Did you, I remember the last time we bid that you was going to go up there and trim some.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of work, but there's still some stuff that can't be removed.
But did you got a little bit more ground from what you've done up there?
Yes. It's still not 85, but it's more than what it was.
Well, the 85, we're just going by the ASC, what they put out, and that's the only thing we can go by. And I don't really know how you really would measure it as zigzaggy as that is in those little patches up there, you know.
I'm of the opinion that we advertised it, they responded.
Okay, then if that's.
What did you do?
We haven't done anything yet.
Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Frank's getting ready to make a motion that we.
If no one else has anything else to say, I think we've advertised, you gentlemen have responded, I think you need an answer, so I move to take the highest bid.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to accept the highest bid. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There you go.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Now, there's nothing further to come before the board. I entertain a motion we adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded we adjourn the meeting. All in favor say aye.
Approve, yeah.
Opposed? Motion carried.